Every life coach and health coach has to have faced some struggles in order to understand what it feels like to help other people. And there are some areas that are specifically ouch areas that have been painful for me to grow in. And one of them is in finances. And I've had so many awful experiences with finances, it's hard to describe which one is the worst. So I might tell you a couple of them. One, I remember, I don't want to get too distracted here. So one simple one that I remember is that when my husband used to do the checking account, he had the cash register on the computer. And I don't remember what the program was. I think it was Quicken. So whenever he put in something that was on, that came through on the bank, there'd be this loud cha-ching noise. And every time he did it, I really, really thought that he had that volume up loudly so that I would hear it and feel bad about all the money that I had spent. And anyone who really is the person who's in charge of shopping for clothes and food in the home, they're really spending a lot of money. And so, and everything is a choice. And so each cha-ching was making me feel more guilty and bad about myself. So I tried to take over the finances so I wouldn't have to deal with that cha-ching sound. And I can remember other times, like being super stressed, not wanting to talk to the kids because I was focused all day on making sure that I paid all the bills. And I didn't want to have them on automatic pay because I wanted to control each bill to make sure it was paid and that it didn't go out if we didn't have money in the checking account. So that was super stressful. Some other ouch areas for us when we were living in Holbrook as teachers, because it was a requirement to live in Holbrook to teach. We had lived in Snowflake and we had to sell our house quickly. And so we sold our house to the first buyers who offered money for it, and they moved into our home. The realtor gave them the keys and they moved into our home. And within 24 hours, they had sprayed the whole house with, those professional sprayers, white house paint all over everything. The carpet, the doorknobs, the lights, wallpaper, everything was sprayed white. They weren't worried about the carpet because they were going to replace it. They were going to replace all the fixed features, the sink appliance, like the on and off handles, everything was sprayed white. So then, and we did have our house inspected, but underneath the sink, they were just cleaning out and there was a whiteboard there. So they picked it up and they found mold. I think it was about this big, maybe smaller. I know it was really small. I've seen a picture of it. So anyways, they found mold and they freaked out and they left the mold exposed, and then they locked up the house with all the paint fumes, and the paint fumes and the mold together went airborne. And so then they left the house and our check never went through. So within one weekend, we later had it assessed, the cost of or appraised, and our house was worth $43,000 less in one weekend. In the meantime, we were living in Holbrook and we were we were paying someone else our house payments until we were able to get our own bank loan. So they were carrying the house loan for us. So now we had two houses, and we were within 24 or 48 hours of being completely debt-free, because the house that we bought in Holbrook was half of the amount that the house of Snowflake was. And so we were going to be able to have all of our debt paid off and everything. We were just so excited about that. And then all of a sudden, we had to hire 3 different lawyers. We had to do the house ourselves, and all of our friends peeling wallpaper. It was pretty bad, and we were never able to recover from that. And on top of that, when I was, this is when we had moved. So on top of that, I was pregnant with my 5th daughter, Emily. So I have to say, one of the worst moments of my life was when I was on bed rest with my daughter, Emily, laying on the couch. And I knew that we needed to file for bankruptcy, because as teachers, we would never be able to recover from the amount that we had lost, and even with the lawyer settlement. And so I remember I had only gotten off my couch to go to the doctor and to go to bankruptcy court. And so we went to Flagstaff, and I was huge. I was like 240 pounds. The only shirt I had that was a maternity shirt that I would go out of the house in was light blue, and it had sparkly glitter on it. And I couldn't even put my own shoes on because I was so fat. So we walked into the bankruptcy court, and I thought, if this was the vision of what I would imagine someone to go to bankruptcy court, it would look just like this. A pregnant woman who doesn't know how to manage her finances in a bright, glittery blue, so totally tacky shirt sitting there. And it got worse from there because my father-in-law had helped us with paying for our lawyer, but instead of paying the lawyer directly, he paid us and we paid him. So when we settled with the lawyer, then we gave the money. We wrote a check to my father-in-law. So when we filed bankruptcy, they wouldn't let us file the type of bankruptcy that we wanted to, or we would have to get the money back that we gave to my father-in-law. That was an embarrassing moment also, calling my father-in-law in the parking lot in Flagstaff Mall, telling him about that. Yep, those were pretty hard times. But on the flip side, what I've learned is I've learned how to do more than manage a budget. I plan our budget to make our dreams happen. And now I do run the budget, but differently. My husband and I have a Google Drive Excel sheet. We both know exactly what's happening. Either one of us can pay off bills. We know what our food budget is. We know how much money we have available for clothing. We have money in emergency savings. And I know how to invest in the stock market. And I know what insurances to get, which insurances not to get, and how much you need, and at what ages. And these are all things that I've learned. And so actually, as I said before, sometimes your weakness can become your strength. And I also put in my budget money for clothing because I know that I have to have some outlet to have some way that I can do something that's fun, that I don't have to answer to anyone for. And that really helps me with having positive thinking, staying in line with my diet, and not being passive aggressive. So all of these things are really important, and this is an ouch area for me, and I have answers and ideas to help other people with this same ouch area.